Hey, what's up everybody? This is Nick Pitts and I've been here since May of 2009, and this past week I've been journeying with you all through John 6 through 8, and for me it's just been beautiful just to see Jesus and the variety of relationships that he has. Whether it be with the seeking after the disciples when they're in the boat, to just seeing the teachers of the law, to his interaction with the crowds, or may it be the encounters with the scribes and the Pharisees. Or maybe it's the conclusion where he's with the woman caught in adultery. We just see a variety of relationships that are on display this week as we look through John 6 through 8. But for me, the one that just kind of popped off the page that just appeared to be most glaring was just his relationship with God the Father. There's just an intimacy that just was so apparent for me as I just continued to read through and just to think about just some of those things. You see that he knew the times in which he was supposed to be, where he was supposed to be, and to do what he was supposed to do when knowing that my hour had not yet come, that he repeats in John 7:30 and 8:20. You see that he had came to do the will of the Father, so he was doing things that God had gave before the foundations of this world for him to do. And he was saying things that testified about the Father and saying those words that the Father would have for him in the manner in which the Father would have him to speak. There's just an intimacy, closeness, and just a love that for me was just comforting to know that my Savior was in such close communion with his dad, even though proximity-wise he was far away. But just to know that that's been made available because of the shed blood of Christ on the cross for me. And so there was one that wanted to spur me on, but also one that just convicted me about, I gotta seek after my Abba Father. I gotta seek after my dad. So yeah, Jesus' interactions with those people, those definitely were on the page. But for me, that intimacy with the Father in heaven was just one of those relationships that really popped out to me this week as I just looked through John 6 through 8. And so some of the questions you've been reading this past week and just kind of thinking through or describing some of the healthy relationships or looking at some of the unhealthy relationships. And as I've just thought through some of my healthy and unhealthy relationships, it really, for me, it started back with just looking at my relationship with God. Because I'm clinging to the fact that I know that my God is love, and that the reason why I can love other people is because my God first loved me. And my God was willing to demonstrate his love for me by sending Jesus to die for me. And so what I've tried to do this week is just to concentrate on my love for God, to love him with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength, to directly think through my love for the Father and how I can just show my appreciation and ascribe honor, glory, and praise to him, showering him with my love. That's what I'm doing directly. But out of that love that's rooted and dwelling inside my heart, that's rooted and grounded in the love of Christ, to think through the height, the depth, the width, and the length of that love, I'm praying that indirectly my time with the Father this week has had a ripple effect on my relationships with the men and women that surround me. So I'm looking and trying to figure out what it looks like for me to be patient, to be kind, to not envy and to not boast, to not be proud or rude or self-seeking or easily angered with some of those people around me. And just trying to figure out what are ways in which I can model the love that Jesus had when people were turning astray, to model a love when people were caught in the midst of some difficult situations, and to exercise that love that Jesus did for them, because ultimately I know that he showed it on me as well, probably the one that I know that needed it the most. And so this week I would just encourage you as you look through your relationships, the good and the bad ones, to try to seek after the intimacy that's offered by the one, the bread of life. So that when you seek after his communion and when you seek after that intimacy with him, knowing that it will have ripple effects on all your other relationships that you have.